Pakistan, a country struggling to feed its people, is now flexing nuclear muscle in the Gulf with a defense pact with Saudi Arabia and Turkey. And Israel is watching closely. For New Delhi, a new question arises: is Pakistan, which is no match militarily, stronger now? On August 7, Pakistan, Saudi Arabia and Turkiye signed the Mecca Joint Defence Agreement. Like NATO, its key provision is that an armed attack against any of the three countries will be considered an attack against all three. That immediately raises the obvious question for New Delhi. If Pakistan gets into another military confrontation with India, could Saudi Arabia and Turkey be pulled into the conflict? The short answer is possibly in theory, but not automatically in practice. And understanding that distinction is crucial. The pact was signed in Mecca by Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan, and Pakistan Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif. Pakistan has described the agreement as purely defensive, but the phrase that has attracted the most attention is the collective defense provision. Essentially, an attack on one is treated as an attack on all. But here is where the comparison needs to be handled carefully. The Mecca Agreement is not NATO. There is currently no publicly established unified military command, no permanent joint force, no integrated headquarters, and no NATO-style institutional structure. More importantly, the three countries do not have identical security priorities. Pakistan's central strategic rivalry is India. Saudi Arabia's immediate concerns are much more focused on Iran, Gulf security, maritime routes, and regional threats. And Turkey has a much wider strategic agenda stretching across West Asia, Europe, and the Muslim world. So the pact creates a new strategic framework, but it does not automatically mean Saudi or Turkish troops would enter an India-Pakistan war. To understand the deal, we have to look beyond India and Pakistan, because Iran is arguably at the center of current regional security equation. Saudi Arabia is dealing with a rapidly changing West Asian security environment, including tensions involving Iran, Israel, and the United States, along with concerns over missiles, drones, energy infrastructure, and maritime security. Riyadh has traditionally depended heavily on the United States for security, but recent regional conflicts have encouraged Gulf states to explore additional security partnerships. And this is where Pakistan and Turkey enter the picture. Pakistan brings a large military, operational experience, and nuclear capability. Turkey brings a growing defense industry, drones, naval platforms, and NATO military experience. And Saudi Arabia brings something Pakistan badly needs: financial strength and enormous geopolitical weight. There is also an important India-specific angle. Turkish military support for Pakistan did not begin with this agreement. Pakistan has acquired Turkish Bayraktar drones, Milgem-class warships, and other defense technologies. During Operation Sindoor, India had already accused Turkey of supporting Pakistan, including through drone-related assistance. So in one sense, the Mecca Agreement does not suddenly create a Turkish-Pakistani military relationship. It formalizes and potentially deepens relationships that already existed. Think of this partnership as a strategic triangle. Saudi Arabia brings money, energy resources, economic influence, and its crucial position in the Gulf and Red Sea region. For Pakistan, Saudi backing has historically been extremely important. Riyadh has repeatedly helped Islamabad through financial support, deposits, and deferred oil payment arrangements during periods of economic crisis. And military cooperation between the two countries goes back decades. Pakistan, meanwhile, brings military manpower, operational experience, and nuclear deterrence. Pakistani troops have historically served in Saudi Arabia, while the two countries have conducted extensive military cooperation and training. So, the relationship is not new. The new element is the formal collective defense framework. Then, there is Turkey. Ankara has developed into one of the region's major defense manufacturers, particularly in drones, naval platforms, and other military technologies. Its defense relationship with Pakistan has expanded substantially over the past decade. That makes Turkey particularly relevant to India's security calculations. But there is another major factor. Turkey is itself a NATO member. Its strategic interests are therefore considerably more complicated than simply joining an anti-India military bloc. This is where the answer becomes more nuanced. The threat perception can only be assessed by New Delhi's defense and diplomatic circles. India does not need to assume that this pact has suddenly changed the military balance. Why? Because the agreement does not publicly identify India as the common enemy. There is also no publicly available commitment saying Saudi Arabia or Turkey will automatically enter a war against India if Pakistan is attacked. That distinction matters enormously. India and Saudi Arabia have built a significant strategic relationship covering energy, trade, investment, and security. India imports a substantial amount of crude from Saudi Arabia, while bilateral trade runs into tens of billions of dollars. Riyadh therefore has strong reasons to maintain its relationship with New Delhi. Saudi has also historically managed to maintain close relations with both India and Pakistan. The question is whether the new defense pact changes that balancing act. For now, there is no evidence that Riyadh has abandoned its strategic partnership with India. This is perhaps the most important question. Imagine a future scenario in which Pakistan carries out a major provocation and India decides on kinetic action. Would Saudi Arabia and Turkey automatically come to Pakistan's defense? Not necessarily. The actual response would depend on how each country interprets the circumstances. Was Pakistan clearly attacked? Who initiated the conflict? What exactly triggered the collective defense clause? And most importantly, what are Saudi and Turkish national interests at that moment? The agreement gives Pakistan a new diplomatic and a strategic platform. It could potentially provide Islamabad with greater access to Saudi financial support and Turkish defense technology. And that is different from saying Saudi Arabia will automatically send combat forces against India. There is also the larger West Asian picture. Saudi Arabia's primary security concern is not India. It is dealing with the security architecture of the Gulf and the wider Middle East, particularly Iran and threats to energy infrastructure and maritime routes. Turkey too has its own regional calculations. That means the three countries may cooperate closely on some issues while disagreeing on others. This makes a unified military response to an India-Pakistan conflict far from guaranteed. But there is still a reason New Delhi cannot simply dismiss this agreement. Even without Saudi or Turkish troops entering a war, the pact could change the strategic calculations around Pakistan. Pakistan may feel that it now has greater diplomatic backing, it may expect deeper Turkish defense cooperation, stronger Saudi financial support, and in a future crisis, Islamabad could try to invoke the collective defense principle to internationalize what India sees as a bilateral security issue. That could complicate India's diplomatic and military calculations. The most important question, therefore, is not will Saudi Arabia fight India for Pakistan. The more important question is, will this pact make Pakistan more confident that others will stand behind it? That is the issue India will be monitoring. So, should India be worried about the Saudi, Turkiye, Pakistan, Mecca defense deal? The pact is significant because it brings together three countries with very different but complementary strengths. Saudi Arabia has money and geopolitical influence. Pakistan has military manpower, operational experience, and nuclear capability. Turkey has defense technology, drones, and a powerful military industrial base. Together, that creates a partnership India cannot afford to ignore. But the agreement is still far from being a NATO-style integrated military alliance. There is no unified command, no clearly defined mechanism for automatic military intervention in India-Pakistan war, and India is not explicitly named as the common adversary. And Saudi Arabia has something important at stake. Its strategic relationship with India. So, the immediate military equation has not been fundamentally transformed, but the long-term geopolitical equation could be changing. For New Delhi, the right response could therefore be neither panic nor complacency. It is strategic preparedness, deeper engagement with the Gulf, stronger defense partnerships, and close monitoring of how this new pact actually evolves. Because the real test of the Mecca Agreement will not come when the three countries sign documents. It will come when one of them actually faces a major military crisis. And if that crisis happens to involve Pakistan and India, the world will discover just how much this pact really means. And that's a wrap from my side. Thank you so much for watching. And I'm Ankit signing off for Times Now Digital. Until next time, take care and keep watching this space for more such videos.